Tesla has value stock potential. In this video, I'm analyzing Tesla from a value investor's perspective. I'm showing exactly what price I'm looking for from Tesla and when I think it's going to happen. Tesla is volatile and explosive, and it's not what most people think of when we're talking about a value company or value investing. So first, let's talk about what exactly a value company really is. The first thing to consider is a company's stock price implies what its future performance is going to be. You also have the intrinsic value of the company, which is how they're really going to perform. Now, you can never know 100% what the real intrinsic value is unless you have a crystal ball. But what we can do is we can look at the analyst expectations. These are professionals who make it their entire careers to try to predict how a company is going to perform over the next several years. We also have the company's own forward guidance expectations. So we have this expectation consensus, which can give us our proxy for an intrinsic value. And then we have the market price. Now, when the price in the market far exceeds what the consensus expectation is, that means the stock is trading at a premium, and that would be a growth company. People want to buy the stock so bad, they think it's going to outperform what the consensus expectation is. And then when the company is trading below that consensus, it's trading at a discount, and thus it is a value company. With this definition, any company can be a value company. It doesn't have to be a slow growing, mature, boring company. It can be a high growth, highly explosive company that has dipped in price, that is traditionally maybe seen as a growth company, but is currently at a value. So let's answer the hard question. How do we calculate the intrinsic value or proxy the intrinsic value of a company? I like to use the discounted future free cash flow method. I focus on free cash flow because that is the most important chunk of money to me as a value investor, because that is the chunk of money that gets returned to shareholders. Free cash flow is spent on dividends, buying back shares, growing the company organically or inorganically through mergers and acquisitions. It can also be used to pay back debt, which reduce interest costs, improves the balance sheet. Free cash flow is what's used to increase my value as a shareholder. So I focus on a discounted future free cash flow valuation of a company. And if I calculate that their valuation has a high enough margin of safety, then it's a value company to me. And by margin of safety, what I mean is that whatever the expected performance is, as long as the current share price is below that minimum level of expectation, enough to give me a margin of safety that I can be confident that the company is going to outperform what is needed in order to give me a return on my investment. So if I see a margin of safety based on my discounted future free cash flow valuation, then that company is a value company. When performing a discounted future free cash flow analysis, there are three key assumptions that we need to make, and this is what we're going to be doing for Tesla. Number one, we have to be able to project the future revenue, and to do this, I look at analyst expectations, I look at the company's forward guidance, and I do take into account past performance. Now, past performance does not guarantee future performance, but a company that has performed well is more likely to perform well into the future. So it is important to consider past performance. Next, the second big assumption is the free cash flow margin. What percentage of the revenue is Tesla able to create free cash flow? Once again, I look at past performance and analyst expectations. And then finally, I need to determine my discount rate. What is the minimum return on investment that I want going forward every single year? For me, I take the risk-free rate, which is a 10-year US Treasury. It's a little over 4%. I could get risk-free. And then I add a little bit over 4% for my equity risk premium, because when you invest in the stock market, there is a high degree of uncertainty. You may not make that money, so I want an additional return. So that makes my discount rate about 8.35%. So now that we know the assumptions that we're going to make, let's do this exercise for Tesla. This is my automated discounted free cash flow spreadsheet. All I have to do is type in the ticker, and this spreadsheet will automatically pull all of the relevant information from the internet. The link for this is in the description. You can have it for free, or you can download it and tweak it, make it your own. So the way this spreadsheet works, after typing in the ticker, on my data entry tab, all of the information is automatically brought in from stockanalysis.com. Then on the next tab, data formatting, it's just put into an organized set of rows where I can easily take it into the next tab where the calculations are performed. All of that information is then spit out onto my dashboard. But in order for this to be accurate, I have to put in my assumptions. If you put in garbage assumptions, you're going to get garbage results. So number one, let's look at the forward revenue projections. So currently, for my annualized revenue growth in years 1 through 5, I have an assumption of 15%. Now you may notice that I actually have 5 different intrinsic value calculations going on. I've got the my projection. This just takes into account exactly these assumptions. Then we have the analyst high, average, and low. For this set of assumptions, I don't use this cell. I use the spread of analyst expectations. So if you go to an analyst aggregator like stockanalysis.com, for instance, I will paste in the spread of analyst projections into these cells right here. So here's what that looks like. If we go to stock analysis on their forecast tab, if I scroll down a bit, we can see the spread of analyst projections for revenue growth. And just to see how many analysts are weighing in on this, in 2026, we've got 56 analysts. In 2027, we've got 49 analysts. And then 22, 8, and 8. So the further you go out, the fewer amount of analysts are going to feel comfortable trying to project earnings. And as you get out past 5 years, it's really hard to find good analyst projections. And really, even if somebody did make a projection, I wouldn't have a high degree of certainty in that projection. So for years 6 through 10, I generally make this either equal to the average for years 1 through 5, or I will cut it down a bit. Maybe I'll cut it in half. And then finally, the perpetual growth rate is the growth rate going into infinity. So for this, I always use a value roughly equal to inflation. A company cannot grow faster than inflation for eternity because then they would eventually dwarf the entire economy. So in this case, I'm going with 3 because Tesla is a faster growing company on average. And based on the sectors and the industries that they are in, AI, robotics, energy storage, these are sectors and industries that I believe are going to be growing very quickly into the future. So I use a higher end estimate of inflation. For a very slow growing company, maybe one that's related to a commodity, I might use 2%, but in this case, I'm going to use 3%. So those are my revenue projections going forward. For free cash flow margin, I like to use primarily their past performance, and then I like to use the Morningstar Equity Analyst Report for how the expectation is for future performance on margins. So first of all, this table right here shows the past 5 years of average free cash flow margin. Right now I'm showing an average of 13%. However, I do make some adjustments to these margin calculations. I make adjustments for R&D, capital expenditures, acquisitions, and stock-based compensation. So for stock-based compensation, I count 95% against their free cash flow. That's because a lot of companies will increase their free cash flow number by paying their employees with stock. It's not actually a cash expense, but then they'll turn around and they'll buy back shares. So it's really like paying employees in extra steps. So I count 95% against there. For R&D, I'm giving Tesla credit for 25% of their R&D spending. And what this means is 25% of the money that Tesla spends on their R&D is going to be contributing to future growth instead of just maintaining their current revenue. So how did I come up with this? In the most recent quarterly report on the earnings call transcript, we're looking at the words of Elon Musk. He says, I guess we have some bad news. It's not exactly bad, but we are going to bring the Model S and X programs to an end with an honorable discharge because we're really moving into the future based on autonomy. As Tesla is transitioning away from cars, they're going to be spending lots of money on R&D for their AI segment, their robotics segment, their energy storage segment. And if we scroll up a little bit, we can see Elon Musk talking about this as well. And we're seeing obviously the first steps along the way this year for Tesla. First major steps as we increase vehicle autonomy and begin to produce Optimus robots at scale. We're making very big investments, major investments in batteries, supply chain for batteries, manufacturers of solar cells. We're making massive investments into AI chips. So they are spending lots of R&D on future segments that they're going to be bringing in lots of revenue. And this also goes into the next adjustment, which is capital expenditures. Going back to my spreadsheet here, currently I have 75% of all CapEx spending as being designated towards growth. There are a couple different ways to make this assessment. So capital expenditures, normally 100% is counted against free cash flow. However, in this case, since Tesla is expanding so aggressively, I need to give some credit to CapEx spending that is going to result in future revenue growth. One way to do that is to look at their depreciation. This cell right here is calculating what percentage of CapEx spending every year over the last 5 years is equal to depreciation. This row right here shows the average percentage of growth CapEx if we use depreciation as a proxy for maintenance spending. Every year, Tesla's existing assets experience depreciation, and money has to be put into those assets to either replace them or keep them up to date. So depreciation is one way to estimate the amount of maintenance spending on a company's assets. So if I use this proxy for maintenance spending, then roughly 50% of all of CapEx is geared towards growth, while the other 50% is geared towards maintenance. So I'm going to go with that figure right there. This figure could in reality be slightly higher, but it's definitely lower than 100% because they do have to maintain their current property, plant, and equipment. So we're going to go with 50%. This brings their average free cash flow margin over the last 5 years to 10.5%. So I'm going to put that value in this cell right here. The next thing I need to take into account is how much Tesla is going to be able to grow their free cash flow margin over the next 5 years as they're scaling up their current operations. To make this determination, I like to go to the Morningstar Equity Analyst Report. And on this table, which is current as of January 28th, 2026, they make predictions on revenue growth, operating income growth, EBITDA growth. And so I like to take into account first for revenue. We can see that the average revenue growth over the next 5 years is about 13%. Morningstar is projecting a 2% loss in revenue in 2026, which is important. We're going to talk about that later. But then in 2027, 2028, 2029, they're growing by 20%, 26%, and about 27%. So slow growth, a little bit of shrinking actually in 2026, followed by explosive growth. Now, in terms of their margin, we can see right here, operating margin over the previous 3 years, the average is about 9.1%. But in 2024, they had 7.9% operating margin. Morningstar is showing they are shrinking their margin in 2026 down to 5%, and then increasing their margin dramatically going forward in 2027, 2028, and 2029. So in terms of operating margin, over double, almost triple the operating margin of 2024 and over triple the operating margin of 2025. In terms of EBITDA, that's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. In 2025, they had an EBITDA margin of 10.6. They're showing that growing up to 24% in 2029. And it's the same story for free cash flow margin to the firm and net margin. They're showing 6% net margin, 5% free cash flow to the firm, and then that is almost tripling in terms of net margin and doubling in terms of free cash flow margin. So Morningstar Equity Analyst Report is showing significant margin expansion going forward over the next 5 years. So in order to build that in, I'm not going to have the margin doubling, but I am going to have a 50% increase in their total margin over the next 5 years. That means they're increasing by 1% every single year. So that's where these assumptions are coming from. 15% revenue growth over the next 5 years comes from the Morningstar Equity Analyst Report. I'm saying 15% going forward, even though Morningstar is showing that in the year 2029 and 2030, the revenue is growing much faster than 20%. And so that momentum could carry forward into years 6 through 10, but I want to set the bar sufficiently low that I can be confident that Tesla can exceed the expectation. That's what's important. If I want a margin of safety, then Tesla has to be able to exceed the analyst expectation. So based on these assumptions, based on the average analyst spread of revenue growth, I'm seeing a maximum downside of 69% loss at today's price, and I'm seeing a best case scenario of a 19% loss. So what this tells me, based on the spread of analyst projections, that Tesla is currently a growth stock. The market is pricing this company above what the analyst expectation is for future growth. But that is not always going to be the case. If I look at Tesla's past price action, go back to the overview, over the last year, or no, we'll go maximum, Tesla has been going up and down with insane volatility. So right here we see in 2021, they were at $371 per share. That's a bit overpriced. But then less than a year later, December 2022, they're at as low as $113 per share, which would be huge value. They then rise back up to $256, not a bad price, back down to $164. So this company takes major swings. It is currently having negative momentum. If I go to the 6-month view, let's go to the 3-month view. Their recent stock high was $488 per share. It's dropped by more than 10% over the last couple months. And the analysts are reporting that Tesla is expected to actually lose revenue over the next year and have margin compression over the next year. So in the short term, Tesla is not going to be performing like people expect. People are pricing this company to grow like crazy. So as investors see revenues come down and margins compress over the next year, I would not be surprised to see this momentum continue to go down. So what I'm watching for precisely is to see Tesla continue its negative momentum, to see it drop to a share price around roughly $250 per share. And as it drops below 250, then I am starting to see an upside on this company in terms of margin of safety, in terms of my discounted future free cash flow valuation. And Tesla is a very strong company. They have a really rock solid balance sheet. When I go to their financials, go to their balance sheet, I can see that they have $44 billion in cash and short-term investments. They can liquidate this into cash at any time. And when I go down to their current long-term debt, they only have $6.5 billion in debt. So this company has a very strong balance sheet. It's just priced a little bit too expensive right now. But as Tesla is incredibly volatile and it's expected to perform not very well over the next year, I am going to be watching Tesla very closely to see if the stock price does come down over the next 12 months, where I can have an opportunity to buy in Tesla as a value company. If you like this style of stock analysis, I do a stream every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. where I do a discounted future free cash flow live on stream, and I invest in a different company every week into my public YouTube portfolio series. Currently, we are outperforming the S&P 500. However, the portfolio is not very old. We've only been doing this for about a year and 3 months, but our performance has been very strong so far, and I hope to see you there. If you have any suggestions for companies that you'd like me to look at live on stream, I'm always happy to do that. Some of my best companies that I invest in actually come from you guys giving me stock suggestions to look at. So please, I would love to see you on Wednesday at 7:30. I hope to see you there. Cheers.